Alright, so it's been a while since I did a video because military. Yeah, so I was on a training exercise for like the last 45 days. And 45 days it just sits and gets dirty. So I figured I'd wash it. And I'm actually going to like wax it and all kinds of shit, buff it. It's pretty disgusting. Bird crap, all kinds of stuff. So I'm gonna actually do some stuff. I'm gonna use a cutting pad on it, and I've done that before. And on this side you can kind of see like it's still pretty shiny and still pretty good, right? But on this side, I don't know if you can tell, but you can see the brush scratches, because last time I used a cutting pad, these cutting pads with the cutting compound, I only used one pad on the whole vehicle, and they say to use one per each quarter of the vehicle. So I used one pad for the whole thing and it didn't work out for me. So the one side got it really good. I started on the top and the hood and worked the side, and then by the time I got to the other side, you couldn't really cut with these pads. It was like worn out. So this time I got two, because I'm going to do a quick pass on whatever else I didn't do very good, and then hit this passenger side really good. Also, last time I waxed, I just applied it by hand and used a microfiber and buffed it all off and everything. This time I'm actually going to apply it with these terry cloth bonnets with a dual action polisher, and then I'm going to take the wax off with these fleece bonnets, and we'll see how all that works out. I got all this stuff at Harbor Freight for like super cheap. I love Harbor Freight. People are like, oh, Harbor Freight tools are crap, but I think Harbor Freight tools are actually pretty good if you're not building houses or like completely rebuilding vehicles like every day with them. If you're just using tools, you know, here and there to play around, Harbor Freight tools are great. So like I said, I got this dual action polisher from Harbor Freight, and I'm going to use that with the cutting pads with this cutting compound, get out all the scratches and crap out of it, make it look good, and then I'm going to wax it with this Brazilian wax. This is what I used last time, and it shined it up incredibly. And I did it by hand. This time I'm actually going to use the polisher and see if I can get a better result. So see how it works out. As far as the wash goes, soap is soap, in my opinion. I don't use like any kind of dish soap, but I do use car wash soap, but car wash soap is car wash soap. This time I got like spot free, no drying stuff. It's not true, you gotta dry it, you'll get spots, but it's not a big deal. I'm just gonna use this extended little brush here because it's kind of a tall vehicle a little bit, so it's hard to reach. I like using this thing. I got it at Harbor Freight as well. It's like a little, fill it with soap, sprays the soap out, let it sit, get all the dirt off, rinse it off, spray some more soap on, and then wash it with the brush. It's kind of cool. And then for the tires and wheels and stuff, and then I shine that guy, like the tires, I shine it up with this soft bristle brush and like a Drexel compound. For the glass, I typically only use that stuff. It really doesn't streak at all. And then every once in a while, in between waxes, I'll throw some of this stuff, wax as you dry, spray it on and wax it off and stuff like that. And then obviously a sponge, and then I use this paintbrush with the Drexel to get in between like all the vents and stuff. So I'll get into the vents and the cracks and stuff after on the interior, but it's pretty much like my arsenal for washing a vehicle. And we're gonna get this thing nice and clean, because like I said, it is freaking gross, and it's just been sitting on a military base for the last 45 days and like eating up dirt and crap. So all right, let's get it clean. All right, so you fill it up with soap in a little reservoir and you turn it onto the mix. Can't really see. And then this thing's not like a foam cannon, man. It's just gonna get some soap on there to get like all the dirt deposits off. So it's not like super foam cannon like you see these guys using and stuff. But I don't think you need something like that. I mean, it's all preference, you know. But you know, it's just sprays. It just sprays on. and it sprays soap onto it, you know, and it just gets all the deposits off. And I personally dig it, you know, it just mixes all the soap in there. It starts to get all that shit off. And I'll do a good pass over the whole thing, and then I got some more soap mixed in, and then I'll use that brush that I showed you guys and just wash the whole vehicle with that brush, get it all cleaned off, you know, do some rinsing in between, and then get it all dried up with a cami, and then get into the cutting compound. So I'm just gonna wash this thing real quick. I'm not gonna do a video on how to wash it. I'm just gonna wash it. All right, it's all sudsy. Let it sit for a little bit. Don't dry, but sit. Get all the dirt and deposits off of it. Crud. See, it's all running down. And then rinse. And then soap. And then rinse and then dry. Pretty much it. And then we'll get into the cutting part of this, you know, cutting compound and stuff. It's gonna be great. Got my little helper spraying it down. But like I said, we got, you know, all of it washed off and everything looks pretty good. So now we're just gonna get all the soap out.
It's like rain, Daddy.
Get it dry. Okay, so it's dry, and from afar, when you're looking at it, you're like, dang, it's pretty good. It's kind of shiny, it looks good, but when you get close up, you can see like some imperfections in it. There's a brush scratch right there, and then you got like where the dirt was resting. Hard to see underneath the window, so you can kind of see like the imperfections in the paint. And then if you look at the hood, it's very dull. It's not very shiny. It's very dull. Random little scratches here and there. Definitely not going to get those out with the cutting pad, but it's definitely going to see all those spots and stuff where all the dirt was just sitting for the last month and a half. So that's the stuff that we're going to get out with this cutting pad. So first step, we have to like mask everything off that we don't want the cutting pad to get, the cutting compound to get on. So you can see like where it stained my trim on the last one there. I'm also going to take the roof rack off, get that off, so that way we can prep everything. You can see like bird shit was eating at the paint and stuff, you know. So all that's going to get fixed with this cutting compound. So keep in mind all these little spots and stuff, because they won't be there after this. Alright. For the tires, I use this stuff. This is a Car Glow, guys, or something like that. Just addressed all. It's in a separate container, but I don't know. My neighbor gave it to me, and it's awesome. I don't know. There's like a website somewhere. I got it saved. It's dope though. I use it for the tires though. Scrub the crap out of them, and then they get this like nasty oxidation. I think it's the sun and the soap mixing together or something, but this stuff shines it up great. It's just a dress all. I use it for all the plastics here that are fading. I'm gonna pull those off and probably paint them black eventually, but I also use it on like the interior and stuff to get the interior really clean. All the everything real nice and clean in here. I need to do that too. It's kind of gross right now, but yeah. So I'm gonna, like I said, take the roof rack off and start priming, prepping everything else up that I don't want this cutting compound on. You can see where I got it last time, like I said, and it's not what I want to do. So I'm gonna prep all this plastics and trims and everything that I don't want cutting compound to get on, and then take the roof rack off, and then we'll get started on cutting this thing down and then getting all the impurities and imperfections out of it, and then we'll go into waxing it. It's gonna be awesome. So I didn't get a very good clean up here on the roof because of the roof rack crossbars. Still bird crap and stuff, but I'll get that cleaned up before we start cutting. So to take the roof rack off, it's actually really easy. You just gotta like undo these fasteners that hold it tight. All right, loosen them up, slide it back. You got screws. I think these crossbars are the same. You just unloosen them. There's probably like 4. Yeah, there's one under there too. Underneath that crossbar, I don't know if you can see it. But 5 screws. So there's one underneath each crossbar that I hid, and then one on the ends. Once you take the screws out of the ends, you could pop out these caps right here and slide all these out, and loosen all these and slide them out, and then take out the rest of the screws there. How to focus. Take out the rest of the screws here, and then you could take these rails up, and that way your cutting pad will easily have all this surface area to work with while you're cutting it, and you don't have to maneuver around these bars and stuff. And I'm hoping you can see where the bars were before I moved them. I'm hoping this cutting pad will get rid of that dullness and get this shine back where these were. So it should be pretty good. I'm also going to take this fin off the spoiler, so that way I have all that space to work that cutting pad there too. So yeah, that's how you take that roof rack off. It's super easy. And I'm eventually going to replace that roof rack with a different setup I saw online. I'm sure I'll make a video of that, so we'll keep moving. And those are just like torque screws, like I said, that take these end caps off. The whole thing is like 5 torque screws. So you just loosen these guys up, and that's what holds the cap into the rig. And it also holds the rail to the rig. So like that.
You get 3 pieces.
Comes off, and then you can slide other parts straight out the end of the rail. Super easy. Same thing with the crossbars and this other stuff. Okay, here we go. Roof rack's off, and you can see kind of how gross it is up there. I don't think I'm gonna put those crossbars back in because they make it hard to wash and stuff. So I gotta rewash the top, get it all ready. But you can see where that clip right there, I think, is for a different application. But you can see the screw hole, and then screw hole 3, 4, and then 5. 5 screws that hold that pieces in, side rails, and then the rest of it just kind of slides in. It all comes off like this. So there's your roof rack for 3rd Gen 4Runner. And like I said, I'm going to keep these side rails here, keep those, but all the rest of this is going to be scrapped. I'm going to eventually put a roof rack up there, a full rack from the back all the way to the front, full length roof rack. So it's going to be pretty easy, pretty simple on Amazon. And here's those end caps. Like I said, I've painted all of this. All of this was real faded. You can see like where I didn't paint it versus what I did paint. So probably like rewash all this back up, and then wash these up again, get rid of those crossbars. My father-in-law's got a 99. I don't think he has those crossbars, so I'll see if he wants those, and then he can take those and use them, I guess, because I'm not going to use those ever again. But alright, let's start masking everything on. So we got all the bird crap cleaned up. Kind of scratched the heck out of it when I was taking the rails out, so that's nice. This is on top, but you can see where I left some of this other cutting compound last time. Didn't really clean up very well, but like I said, I got all the bird crap off, and this is what I'm working with here. I showed you guys in the previous videos that somebody half-ass painted this thing. It was black and now it's green, and it's like all flaking in the edges here, and it's kind of jacked up, but that's what I'm working with. So it's part of the reason why I'm going to keep the side rails on. So yeah, that's part of the reason why I'm going to keep the side rails on, because it'll just cover that crap up. And yeah, that full length roof rack is going to go all the way to the front end there. It's going to go over, it's going to have some crossbars going over the sunroof there that I fixed in a previous video, which I'm pumped about. But anyway, yeah, I think I'll be content with that though. Other than that, yeah, we got all that bird crap off, so now we can get going here with cutting it. I'm going to do it in the garage though, because I don't want to do it in the direct sunlight. I didn't have a problem washing it in the direct sunlight because I'm going to be cutting and polishing everything anyway. So, you know, a lot of people ask me like, oh, why are you gonna be washing this thing up real good and polishing it and stuff like that if it's just a trail rig? I'm sort of OCD and I'm also lazy. So those two combinations, as far as like fixing the paint, because this is my daily driver too, you know. So as far as like fixing the paint on the trails when it gets those brush scratches down the side or whatever, if you wash it and polish it, you know, and keep it polished, like, you know, every couple washes you throw, you know, some wax on there and keep it polished and nice and clean, the less maintenance you have to do on your paint. You know, I already have to fix these little dents and crap, chip paint, rust, stuff like that, but I don't know, I like a nice vehicle when I'm driving around, nice and shiny and clean, and but I also like it practical for trail rigs and stuff like that. So you know, those are the types of things. That's why I keep it clean and I'm doing these things with it. But I do want to show you, you know, this Carglass stuff, how it works before I start, you know, cutting and polishing and stuff like that, how it works on these tires. And like I said, I just use this brush here. It's like a soft bristle brush. I only use it on the tires. As you can see, it's like nasty as hell. But it's pretty simple. I'll just throw some on there and then go over the tire and just kind of apply it like this. That's it. And the brush gets in between all the tread and sidewalls and stuff. But the thing about this stuff is it does not fade like your traditional like tire shine and stuff like that. Like all your other tire shines that I've used anyway, it doesn't fade. You know, it stays shiny until the next wash, and it stays black and it stays clean, and it's really nice. And it doesn't attract dirt. A lot of times, like these dressings and stuff like that will attract dust. It doesn't do any of that stuff. It just kind of shines up real nice compared to, you know, all these other tire shines that I use. So I really like this stuff a lot. Like I said, I just use this brush. It's easy. It's long, so I can reach it. I don't have to like bend over or nothing. Just get the whole tire all the way around, and then it'll do all four really quick. And this bottle's lasting me forever. I'm almost out now. I need to get on this little website and order a bunch because my neighbor just gave me some of this stuff. He filled this bottle for me, but I use it on everything, inside, outside, plastics, trims, everything. It's great stuff. So Car Glow is what it is. So I think they're out of San Diego, I don't know, but it's pretty awesome stuff. That's why I like that tire shine. Look at that stuff. Just with a brush and that stuff. Just go around, get in between all the treads, and it shines like a beauty. Love it. Can't really see this side because of the sun. But stuff's awesome. Love it. Definitely worth the buy. Checking it out. Okay, so day 2. Yesterday was kind of crazy with the kids, so put it off till today. But I masked off everything. Like I said, I didn't want to get the compound on, because like I said, the compound will stain some rear trims and stuff. So I've got like half a bottle, but I'm gonna do a quick pass over everything before wax. So cutting pad on the machine. Like I said, this thing was like 40 or 50 bucks at Harbor Freight, so it was cheap. And then we're gonna run this compound, and then use these bonnets over the thing without a pad to apply the wax, and then we'll buff the wax off with these fleece polishers. We'll buff that all out and shine the crap out of it, so it should be cool. But what I want to show you here is how I did this. So these lines right here, right on the actual pad itself, where you attach the foam pads to, put these lines on there with a permanent marker. The reason I do that is because it's a dual action polisher, so it has a clutch in it. If you put too much pressure down while you're polishing or using your compound or whatever the case, it will be spinning. If you put too much pressure, it will just stop. And sometimes it's kind of hard to see when it's stopping because it's still vibrating and stuff. So with those lines, if they're moving, it's moving. If you see the line stop, obviously it's stopped. You're putting too much pressure, or sometimes you hit a concave. You're smooth here, but you'll hit this and then it'll stop. So you gotta find like a good balance there. But for somebody that is inexperienced with these things like myself, I'm not really too experienced with this. I've only used it once. It worked out great, but I want to be able to see if it stops. So yeah, so we'll just get buffing with this compound, then start getting some of these scratches out. Just for comparison, I don't know if you can tell, this side I used the cutting compound already, this side I have not. So you can kind of see like the difference in it. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but that's without wax or nothing. That's just the cutting compound right there versus not. And that brought the hood out that much. You know, I've already done this side with it. It's already shining up real good. So we're just gonna keep moving around the whole rest of the vehicle, top, the other sides, get it shiny again, and then we'll wax this baby. But I just wanted to show a comparison, like before and after. Try and get the reflection of like the garage door light right there. So you can see it already makes a world of difference with this stuff. And that's just with the machine and the cutting compound. Alright, so I stole this like tripod thing from my wife so I can show you guys. So like on the cutting pad you put, 5 dots or so, depending on the area you're working. And I'm gonna work this section up here that I haven't done yet. Did all the rest of it here on the hood. So it's pretty simple. You just kind of like dab around the area that you're gonna be working here. And they say do like a 2x2 section, whatever you're feeling comfortable with. And then keep it on a slow setting. So on the back of this thing, you can turn it up and down. Put it on like 1 or 2 to spread it around. And then once you get it spread, crank it up to like 5 or so, 4 or 5. And then really put some pressure up on the top and buff it in. So let's just knock it down. Alright. And once you cut it in, you just buff it out with a microfiber. And if you get any of it on like your trims and stuff, you definitely want to get that off because depending, it will stain. You got some spots like I showed you, it will stain your trim and stuff. So that's the process. I mean, you'll do that over the whole car, you know, in 2x2 sections or however big you want to do, whatever you're feeling comfortable with. So like I said, I just have to do this side, the top, and the back there, and then we're good to go. I did the hood and the other side, and then so I'm gonna cut the rest of that, and then we'll start waxing. So another thing too that you want to kind of be mindful of and pay attention to is the pressure and application, how fast you're moving across the panels, because you move faster up here and you move slower over here, you'll get, you know, better cut down here versus up here. So across the whole thing, you want to be consistent as far as like pressure and speed that you're moving with your machine. So just keep those factors in mind when you're working on the vehicle. Now it's looking pretty good. The top, I don't know if you can tell, but I couldn't really get those crossbar sun stains out of there, so they're still there, but it looks a hell of a lot better. But the next part of this process I'm going to do is actually clay bar it, and I don't know, I like doing it because, like, see all the dust right here from the machine, it just kicks up a bunch of crap of this compound. It throws it off as you're buffing it, so there's like compound thrown up on the windows, it's thrown around all over the place, so you can kind of see the dust and the cracks here. There you go, all kinds of dust up in there. It's just kicking the compound off, especially up inside the door handles and stuff. I don't know if you can see in there, but yeah, so I'm gonna actually get that off of there with a clay bar. I'll clay bar the whole vehicle. I didn't have a clay bar, I didn't think I had a clay bar, but I found one, so now I'm gonna go ahead and just clay bar it. So I don't know why camera's not focusing. There it goes. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and just clay bar it real quick before I start waxing. As far as the clay barring goes, I bought the mother's kit, which comes with 2 clay bars. I've already used one previously. I used it on 2 different vehicles. These bars will last a while. It comes with this detailer. I bought another bottle of it just in case, because this one's empty. You can use whatever you want. Apparently, I've seen other videos where people use like just water or, you know, window cleaner or whatever their preference is, but you just spray the detailer or whatever you're using on, and then just wipe it down with the clay bar basically, and it collects all the crap that you don't want up and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just gonna go into it, clay bar the whole thing real quick, and then we'll get into the wax with these bonnets, because I'm super interested in that, see how that comes out. All right, so like I said, you just kind of spray it on the surface, and then you take the clay bar, piece of clay, and you just kind of run it over. And whatever you're using is just a lubricant basically, because the clay is going to take up whatever crud and crap is on the actual vehicle. And you can do it all over the windows, you can do it over the sunroof, you can do it over the headlights, do it over every inch of the vehicle, and just kind of run it back and forth. Same deal, just do a small section at a time. It's tedious, but I think it's worth it. It just pulls up all the little crud and crap. You can tell there's just a bunch of shit in there, you know, like green from the hood and dirt and all kinds of stuff. So it's cool. I like it. I think it's worth it. Perfect example of why you clay bar. So I've already washed this. I've already stripped it down with compound, everything, and I'm still pulling all this black shit out of everywhere in between these windows. I got some clay up in there I gotta get out, but I mean, there's crud everywhere, and these clay bars just magnetize it and pull it out, and it's great. So and once you get some dirt in there, you just fold it over, knead it out, and then you got a fresh piece there, and you just keep moving. It's awesome. I love these things, so highly recommend you do that. All right, so far we've done the hood and the passenger side with 1 coat of wax, and then buffed off the wax with that fleece, and the result is crazy. I did the mirror and everything, and it's super shiny, but it's dark out now, so we're gonna take a break after the hood and that side's done. We gotta do the top still, the back, and the driver's side, and we're gonna do that tomorrow, and then we'll give it a shot in the sun so you guys can see this paint, how incredible it looks and how back to life we brought it. So cool. All right, we just got done with the back here, and I did, you know, like a layer of wax over the light. I did, you know, I waxed all the way up over this third brake light and everything. I actually put a layer of wax here on these pieces, waxed over everything, really. All of this trim, it shined it up nice. Hardest part obviously was between all the emblems and stuff, so all in between here, I even put some wax on this little grommet for the windshield wiper, and everything just shined up. I did it over the license plate frame or whatever, you know, all this stuff I put a layer of wax over. And obviously the machine, putting the wax on with the machine wasn't gonna fit in between all this, so I did it by hand just with like a cloth, microfiber cloth. Got all up in the inside and everything, but then I just used this guy to buff it out, and it shines the crap out of it. It's incredible. It does shed a little bit and it throws hairs everywhere. It's all over my shirt and everything, but I mean, you can see there's hairs all over. But once you're done buffing, you do it once over with a microfiber, and this thing looks great. So we just got this side left to do, and the top, and then we'll be good to go. I already did the rest of the vehicle, so once we get done here, we'll throw her out in the sun, see what she looks like, get that shine going. So it's gonna get like super dusty now, it's super windy, but that's to give you an idea of that tire shine. It's like 4 days now, so it's pretty good. Like I said, it's awesome. Pump for it. It's just I'm sure people are gonna like, oh, it's off-road, like I said, you know, why you gotta like spend so much time, but I think cleaning is maintenance too, so that way you don't have to like repair any paint later on, full paint jobs and stuff, just things like that. I also put some wax on the wipers, just let it hang out on there for a little bit, and then buffed it off, and then same thing with the roof rack, because I repainted all that. Pretty good too, so everything got it. So just maintain the paint, you know. Yeah, I'm gonna go get it dirty probably this weekend and wash it, and then every other time I wash it, I'll probably throw some wax on there.